Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the CNFT.Tools Discord server. I'm ToolSin and I'm joined by the team from Phoenix Arena. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Make. I'm one of the co-founders of Phoenix Arena, and we also have here the other co-founder.
Hey, it's Apex. I'm the other co-founder. You probably see me around Discord mostly, whereas Make is like the techie guy who works kind of behind the scenes, to push everything kind of forward.
Yeah, I'm not talking to people as much as I probably should.
So can we kick it off with a little 30-second or a minute long rundown of what Phoenix Arena is going to be all about?
Yeah, for sure. We're developing a NFT based game on the Cardano blockchain chain. The core concept for a game is an battler where you can use our character NFTs in teams battling against other players. Um, so, Unlike you know so it's an auto battler, right? So that basically means that choose your team, you choose their skills, you choose their items, and then they automatically battle out against each other. So that's the core concept. We've sold a couple of NFTs now. Our first character was Max, which you can see. So I have a Max profile picture up right now. So that was our first character, and then we had a second character, Diver, who we sold in April earlier this year, and now we're gonna have our third character, Fluffy, coming out on September 25th.
Okay, that's in just over 2 weeks then.
Yep, just a little bit over 2 weeks now.
Sweet. So how much will Fluffy be, and how many will there be, and is there going to be a whitelist and stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. There are going to be 5,000 fluffies available. The mint price for public is going to be 85 ADA. But if you buy a bundle, you will receive basically a sixth one. If you buy five, you'll receive six. And so basically, then you get a small discount where your average price would be about 70 ADA. There will be a whitelist of 2,300, approximately, maybe around that number of whitelist tokens. And so if you purchase an NFT with one of the whitelist tokens, then the price for those will be also the discounted 70 ADA that you'd get if you would buy a bundle from the public sale.
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely worth getting yourself whitelisted if you're interested in the project then.
But about the whitelist, if you want to get whitelisted, basically how it works is that we are sending out 2,000 tokens to existing holders. 2,000 whitelist tokens will be raffled among the actual NFTs owned by existing holders and then sent to the wallets where those NFTs are found.
Very nice. So obviously people need to have those unlisted to take advantage of that.
Yeah, yeah. And so, so to but to be eligible for that whitelist, they also need to basically just go to our Discord and tell us that they want to be on that whitelist. And this is just kind of like, to weed out if there are users who own our NFTs but are inactive users. So basically, it's just trying to really give back a little bit extra to those who are active members of the community. Now, so if you would like to be able to get whitelisted, you have one option is you can buy the existing NFTs off the secondary market, and then those will have a chance of being raffled a whitelist. We also have a small whitelist for a couple of hundred whitelist tokens. If you join our Discord server and you register yourself for this kind of like public whitelist raffle.
Nice. So yeah, definitely not too difficult to get it if you want it then.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, you guys have been around long enough for this to be your third mint.
Yeah.
So, how long ago did the project first kick off for you guys then?
Yeah, so we got started with the project basically around October last year. So, our story kind of goes back to back in August last year. I started paying attention to like I've been around crypto for a while and been a fan of Cardano since 2017. But then I started paying attention to NFTs in August last year. And so our kind of journey kicked off from there, where, at first we were part of the just being customers and buying NFTs and kind of being a part of the ecosystem in that way. And then we quickly started thinking about what's currently going on with the NFTs in the Cardano ecosystem. How could we take some of the concepts that we have in the ecosystem, a step further? And so we then soon started thinking about this kind of concept of developing a PFP NFT collection, but then um, also developing a game where you can use those PFP NFTs as a part of that game.
Yeah. So, I mean, how long did it take you to reach your first mint then?
So we had our first mint. Wait, when was Max?
December. It was sent
Oh
the
yeah, actually, okay, actually, our first mint was already in December, so we had a very limited size drop for Santa Diver. So this was like we only sold 55 NFTs.
Okay.
So this was kind of like a surprise drop, just for people who had started to follow us, and those who were really kind of excited about the project. Out of the blue, they had the opportunity to buy a couple of these ones. So that was our first mint, and you know, I think an excellent learning experience for us. And then we had then Max was in February.
yes.
Yeah, then we had the Max, Max was then like a bigger sale where we had an open drop for the NFT sale, open for 48 hours, and I think we sold what was it, around 3,700, 800 NFTs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah. So do you guys provide? Do you guys do your own minting, or is that something that you've taken on a minting partner for?
Yeah, so actually, for the previous NFT drops, we were using NFT Maker Pro. But and my plan was originally for this drop to actually use basically implement our own minting service because we already have a kind of like reward distribution system, which basically you can send transactions to us and receive your tokens. So, and we're going to need a little bit more extensive and frequent minting functionality as part of our game. So the original idea was to have that minting functionality up and running for our drop, but just because I think it's more important for the drop to be super smooth. Um, so rather than kind of gambling on the possibility in case there would just be, I feel like I didn't have enough time to kind of like thoroughly test everything to make sure that it would be
Yeah.
worthwhile to use our own minting functionality. That we're partnering up with a minting service provider called Peppermint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
No. Yeah. Good shout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and basically, I think there were, especially like, just the other week, there was, well, another fluffy drop. We had the name first, but there was another fluffy drop, and maybe you guys have probably all heard about it, but that was a project that seemed to the drop NFT dropped seemed to have quite a bit of hype around it. I think they had excellent marketing content, and I personally felt that drop was probably going to do quite well. Just to turn out that they messed up their minting process,
Yeah.
and I think if those guys, for example, they probably lost um, like 300,000 ADA that they could have earned if only they would have double, triple, quadruple checked that they're going to be minting everything correctly. So yeah, for me, it kind of felt like a no-brainer that what, let's just absolutely, like, we've had successful drops before. We didn't have any issues with those, but just to have that redundancy of really making sure that there aren't going to be any issues, and that it's super smooth. That let's partner up with someone who can help us double check that everything's gonna work as it's supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. In that kind of environment, I mean, that yes, you can do testing and you can test everything and everything like that, but at the same time, you can't really test for 3,000 people all hitting server at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, there's, testing, you can only do so much until you get into the real world scenarios. So yeah, I think under your circumstances, you made a very good shout there, and I applaud you for it. And yeah, obviously a very good call in minting partner as well. Like, they do have a solid track record, and yeah, they're well known in the space for doing it good.
Yeah, exactly.
Little change of tack for a minute. How did you guys meet in the first place?
So we've actually known for a very long time. So Augie and me we're childhood friends, and I think we met when we were around
8, 9.
7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So now a little bit over 20 years ago when we first met. So
I feel
it's
like
a
an old
sweet.
man now. You see,
Yeah, so
you're going to say that, like 20 years ago wasn't 1987, you know?
yeah, so exactly. This was well, but yeah, so basically that's you know long story. We actually met because our parents were friends,
No,
and
that's cool. That's cool.
we've been friends ever since.
What brought you guys into the crypto space in the first place?
So for me personally, so okay, I'm gonna have to say that I dragged Augie into the crypto space with me.
Yeah.
So I was kind of the gateway in his case. For me personally, my journey actually, funnily enough, it's like it was two people. The first person, which I think is kind of bizarre. This was like back in like 2015. I went to a bar in Finland, and I'm in this bar on like a weekday. It's kind of quiet in there, and there's like this group of foreign looking guys who are speaking English, and I'm like, okay, this seems like a interesting group of people. So I was like, I started talking with them, and so I'm talking with this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur, Bitcoin millionaire, retired. Currently live in Finland, and so it turns out that I don't know if you guys know, but that guy was Richard Hart, out of all people. So, um, so, like, funnily, that was like my first time when I was talking with someone about crypto who was like, "Oh, like," but then I didn't latch on to it. I was like, "Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting,"
yeah.
but I
Nice
think like,
conversation, and yeah,
yeah, but then I think like a lot of people who are first getting into crypto, they have that feeling of like, oh, it's already happened. It's already done, you know?
yeah.
And so then, nothing happened to me, kind of like that at that point. Didn't really think too much about it. Fast forward 2 years, I'm on exchange in Munich, and I uh, bump into this person while river surfing out of all things. Start talking to him. Turns out he's a professional poker player. We start hanging out. He starts telling me about crypto at some point, and then he was kind of like the person who introduced me that, hey, this might be something that you might want to check out.
I'd be interested to
So,
know the name of the poker player out of interest, as I used to play a bit myself.
oh, okay. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, not a problem. We can move on.
yeah, exactly. I don't necessarily feel comfortable
Yeah,
sharing
yeah.
the information. But anyway, so the poker player, yeah, he basically got me into crypto in 2017. And I remember like the first time I bought crypto was, I gave him like 350 euros in cash and he transferred me 1 Ethereum, and I'm like, what is this whole scam thing? Like what's am I being scammed here, or
Yeah.
like absolutely silly. But yeah, so that was my first kind of purchase of crypto. And then Cardano was kind of peaking its head at that point. And I remember watching Charles Hoskinson's whiteboard video where he's talking about uh, Bitcoin and Ethereum and this concept of having like a third generation blockchain, to of Cardano to address address those challenges that that have popped up with Ethereum, and basically been a fanboy ever since. Um, and it's amazing to see that, after 5 years, everything that they were talking about already back then, that it's coming to fruition.
Yeah, so I mean, like, what brought you guys to Cardano after all that? Then, obviously, your first, your first dip in was on Ethereum.
Yeah, so, but I actually, I already got invested in Cardano in like 2017.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was early then.
Yeah. But I was a poor student back then, unfortunately. So while I was already pretty bullish, it's like I didn't really have the that much capital to put in. But um, yeah, it's gone pretty well. But
Um,
yeah, so then yeah. So philosophically and kind of like technically, I've been in the Cardano boat ever since. And then like I said, started paying attention to NFTs last year in August, and then yeah, then like I said, that's kind of that's the story of ending up in Cardano and Cardano NFTs, and starting our own project.
so, what was the first Cardano NFTs that you both minted?
The first
Block 5.
the first NFT was Inomsky,
Nice.
A
Yeah,
Inomsky
yeah.
I
Like
don't know how you pronounce it. That's
it,
how I say it, Inomsky. That's how I like.
yeah.
Yeah, block five,
I mean,
block
it
five.
changes every time I say it, and I think it's
Yeah,
like Ion Iomsky. But
yeah,
yeah,
something like that. Anyway, so Aeon block five. That was um,
nice.
that was the first one. And yeah, by the way, I have to say that like I saw those, and I was like, I started thinking about the concept of like, damn, having this block series, especially because there are only 150 block ones, there's ever going to be 150 complete sets,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it was at that point, and I still think it is some of the most amazing art that we've seen on the Cardano blockchain, and especially given the fact that it's been kind of like tracking some of the historical things that have been occurring on the Cardano blockchain. I feel like at some point, it's like that's one of the projects that I think is going to absolutely blow up.
Yeah, no, I agree that yeah they are a fearsomely awesome project.
Yeah, it's very it's so strange for me. Like, okay, actually, I understand why it's such like so under the radar because he barely has any marketing compared to like at least in comparing to the most of these PFP NFT collections, and it's also quite a just the number of NFTs even that they have is quite small. So the yeah, I guess just not that as many pairs of eyes watching it as some other projects, but
Yeah,
yeah,
the eyes they have watching are have bags and are highly committed as well though.
yeah, for sure.
Like I mean the art is just amazing. It's again it's one of those ones that I wish I'd got into because now it's just out of my reach to be honest.
Yeah. I remember getting a block one when it was like 5,000 ADA, and I was like, damn, this is expensive. But I have to say that I'm happy that I did.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can bet that. Yeah, I mean 5,000 Ada back then was even more than it is now. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's a thing that I think we all try not to think about too much.
yeah, I mean, but you know, taking that as an interesting segue, because you guys had some quite interesting marketing to start out with yourselves. Actually, you took a quite a different approach than most projects do. Of the do a do a collab here, do a collab there, shout on Twitter. Whereas you guys went out and you did your community arenas and things like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I don't know if I'm actually I don't know if people in the chat are aware of what you're talking about, but that was definitely I think a really cool marketing campaign that we had. I have to give a shout out to Ogi. That was his stroke of genius. Um, yeah, but if for everyone, if you can go to our website, phoenixarena.io, and straight at the top of the website, you can see the banner that ToolSin is referring to. But basically, what we did was we kind of reached out to the entire community and said, "Hey, we've got this. We want to build this banner. Like everyone, just if you want to get a chance to have your NFT as a part of the banner. Just post it in the Twitter thread, and we'll um, select NFTs to be a part of the banner. And I think some of the things that I really liked about that concept were like for one, the fact that I think it was a good way of kind of like you know um, it's an activity which is bringing everyone together. It's like cross promoting everyone, so like and of course it's bringing some marketing attention to us. But what I liked about it was the fact that we're also we're helping everyone else also kind of get some visibility for their own projects
Yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
in like a positive positive way trying to bring everyone else up, and at the same time that's also going to be like building us up and bringing awareness to our project.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly remember. I think it was me DMing you to make sure that the Cardanos are represented on there as it goes, because yeah, there was definitely a bit of FOMO about making sure that projects were represented on there.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so like it's great looking at it because it's not often you can see all the different NFTs of a time period like that because it's almost like a time capsule as well.
Exactly, exactly. That's another thing that I really like about it. It's like it's a snapshot of a moment in time yeah, it's a snapshot of a moment in time of what the NFT space looked at that time. And yeah, like you said, we can always look back on it, and it can kind of serve as a nostalgic reminder of what was happening at that time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got pretty much every major project at the time represented, and a lot of them the minor ones as well. Actually, like
Yeah, yeah,
because I mean back then there wasn't as many projects as there are now either. So that's an
yeah.
important thing for people to remember.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, and there's like, for example, Stone Age Hooligans. I don't know if anyone remembers those guys. Uh,
I've got an AMA with them coming up actually.
oh,
They're
nice.
still
Yeah.
going. I've got an AMA with them booked on the 27th of the month. So yeah, in like 3 weeks.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. Yeah, because they had a bit of a rough patch for a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, we actually have a Fluffy character in there as well. Don't know if anyone's actually paid too much attention to that, but she was already on our mind back then.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so what kind of other things you've been getting up to marketing wise? Because obviously there's a good brain in there, that's for sure.
Yeah, so maybe Ogi can tell a little bit more about the marketing side of things.
So when it comes to our first two drops, Max and Diver, we decided to go with like an open drop system. So I don't know if you remember like what Equine did. So they had this kind of open drop that within like a time period you can mint as many
Yeah,
NFTs as you want. So the idea was like, we want people who actually believe in the project and are there to stay, long term because it takes a while, to build a game,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we wanted to have that kind of strong foundation, like if you have a strong foundation of people backing you, then I don't think it's like there's no question that with a strong community, we can deliver on everything that we set in our roadmap. Now, when it comes to our fluffy mint, we decided to go with the traditional limited supply mint, just to kind of try out, like try to kind of build the numbers, get different communities involved with the whitelist opportunities and stuff like that.
Yeah, I
And
think I think
we,
one of the like if I can just
yeah,
add to that a little bit. So, you know, definitely the idea with having this closed mint was that for some portion of the people, or probably quite a significant portion of the people involved in NFTs, having an open supply um, can be a bit of an off-putting.
yeah,
Um, can be a bit off-putting,
yeah,
So the idea was that at least this time that we would try to target that slightly broader audience and to build some additional user base by also trying to capture the attention of the people who would be off, kind of put off by having a open mint. But yeah, okay, please.
yeah, I just want to add for Fluffy, we also have a few collaborations with different projects. For example, there's one with Cardania. So there's going to be like a small number of like Cardania fluffies, and then like with these fluffies, you can. What makes them kind of special is not only the art that is fantastic. I have to give a shout out to our artist Manu Villa. He unfortunately doesn't speak English, so he can't really attend like these spaces and stuff. He's Spanish person from Valencia.
oh nice.
Luckily Marcus speaks Spanish, so we kind of communicate.
I was about to ask, like, knowing that you're from
Yeah,
Finland and he's from Spain and he doesn't speak English, it was like,
yeah, no. Fortunately, I speak enough Spanish to be able to communicate with him. But I have to say that it was a bit funny when we were first interviewing him, and I was like, "Damn, okay, I haven't spoken Spanish for a couple of years. Like, how do you do this again?" And but it turned out well. And I think it's really been awesome, quite frankly, working with Manu. And despite the fact that we don't, or I mean, I do, I can speak with him in Spanish, but for example, Olgi doesn't speak Spanish. It's quite remarkable that we have excellent communication and that we have such a good understanding with each other. Even if we're just communicating by email, like for the most part, in developing all of the artwork that we need for the NFTs, marketing content, game contents. So don't try to steal him. I feel like I'm pitching him a little bit too much right now.
Oh dear. I'll say, well, I don't think I need to steal him, but I'm sure there'll be somebody in the future watching his back on YouTube saying, maybe I'll try.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So I've kind of, I've not necessarily avoided it so far, but I kind of want to get into some more aspects about the game and the gameplay.
Yeah, sure.
So how long do you think it will be before you're able to start doing a public beta test or be able to release the game?
So I think I have to say that we are a little bit delayed on this compared to what we had originally hoped. And the target would be that um, we would be releasing content in Q4 that people can interact with. But now one of the things that's currently on my mind in terms of kind of like the let's say so we might have a beta release already in Q4, but going to like a full on release. That's something where I still want to think about some of the details when it comes to the kind of um, just some of the details surrounding the launch. But yeah, so definitely we'll have some content for people to interact with in Q4.
Okay. So you said it's an auto battler. So just to get kind of an idea, I've played quite a bit of Teamfight Tactics. So is it sort of like
Yeah.
you saying, you pick your abilities and stuff like that, which I'll get more into in a minute. I'm just trying to get an overall feel for your game.
Yeah.
Is it is there more interaction other than the picking of the traits? Is there like, do you place your team on the field in different positions and stuff like that?
Yeah, so the factors that you influence is that before the match begins, you
Yeah.
select the characters that you have on the field. You select so this the character could be either a currently a max diver or fluffy. You select the items for your characters from your inventory. So, for example, initially your inventory would consist of the NFTs of item NFTs that you can obtain by basically will airdrop those to you, or you can kind of pull them as rewards for each of your current characters, the NFTs that you're buying. But okay, so you choose your characters, you choose your items, and then you choose your skill cards for your characters.
Right.
And so the skill cards, basically the skill cards determine your class, where you can choose, well, so you choose your class to be either a mage, warrior, or rogue currently, and each of those three classes has a subclass. So the subclass could be that for mage we have wizard and warlock, or maybe the class was wizard, and then we have subclasses of mage and warlock. And so we have 10 skill cards currently for the mage and 10 skill cards for the warlock. And so you would choose you basically have like 10 energy points to consume, and each of the skill cards takes a certain amount of energy points, and you would choose skill cards in a specific sequence within that 10 energy point budget.
So you
So that's
might
kind of like,
so you could go all in on like three, or you could get seven, for instance.
yeah. So we have the skill cards can either consume 2 energy points, 4 energy points, or 6 energy points. So the minimum number of skill cards you could have is two, a 6 energy point and a four energy
Yeah,
point skill card, or then the maximum that you could have is five 2 energy point skill cards.
cool. So the obviously the battle happens all by itself. Do you get to watch it, and is there sort of like animation and
Exactly.
sound and everything like that?
Yeah, exactly. So, Olga's just commenting here that think football manager. So basically, once you've chosen your strategy, you can we'll have two different three different game modes. So one is ranked, one is quick match, and one would be like battling against like quests or events where you battle against, for example, a Phoenix Arena, a let's say, so to speak, AI build for completing like a daily quest. But if we think about the quick match, for example, right, you would be pitted against a opponent. You would select your squad, and then once you've been pitted against an opponent, both of those, the setup for both of the players is selected, then you would then be able to watch the core gameplay of your team battling against the other team. And yeah, so the matches are, we aim for the matches to be quite short. Just 10, 20, 30 seconds, something
Okay.
like that. And
So
so
so it's like one round per match as opposed to multiple rounds to decide a match.
yeah, so the one of the actual well, I don't know if this is unnecessarily technical, but the matches are actually deterministic. So there's no random elements, and one matchup against another matchup will always produce the same result.
Okay. Um,
So yeah.
yeah, I was going to say. So does is there any advantage to holding certain traits on, or a certain rarity, fluffy or max or anything like that, over one that might have different traits or something?
Yeah, so how I would describe this is like a good comparison, perhaps for our game, or what would be the correct word? Is it analogy? Um, would be think about rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So we have three classes: mage, warrior, rogue, and the different classes have strengths and weaknesses against the other classes. So I don't remember exactly which one is stronger against which, but let's imagine mage is stronger against warrior is stronger against rogue, and rogue is stronger against
Yeah.
mage.
Yeah.
And so what are the thing so one of the things that we're going to do in designing the game is that these different characters have basically kind of like an affinity towards the different classes. So each character has all these different types of items, and those items will have statistics which can be supportive or not so supportive for these different classes. And so basically, you can think about it as, you know, um, it's not necessarily that any single item is necessarily the best, but if you want to have a well balanced, if you want to have a well balanced toolkit so that you can have a strategy for different kinds of builds. So going back to this concept of like rock paper scissors, you would need to have these kind of like different items of different with different traits.
Okay. So, is there a? Do you only need one Fluffy or one Max to be able to compete, or do you need multiple? So, like do you need five to be able to compete, for instance?
So to be able to play, we'll have a single. We'll probably like for the beta version, for example, we'll probably start with only like a one versus one game mode, and so technically you could play the game with just one character. But if especially if you're playing trying to play in the competitive setting, and you can think about like, well, if you only have one character and that character is a diver, which and your item sets only lean towards being a warrior, well, then the other guys, if they just have like a mage character and item set and skill cards, they're going to be absolutely like be able to just wreck you. And so you wouldn't be able to effectively compete against others.
So, is there any element of being able to see what you might be up against before you make your skill and item choices?
Exactly. So that's the idea with the kind of with the ranked mode. So basically, what'll happen is you'll be in a bracket on your kind of like tier. And so we're gonna have tiers like bronze, silver, gold, diamond, platinum, phoenix.
Yeah.
And then for any given tier, you're going to be put into a bracket, basically where you're in a bracket with let's say nine other people, so there would be 10 teams in total, and you can view information about your opponents before determining your strategy for that matchup. And the current idea is that basically there would be three automated kind of battle sets of battles per day. Maybe we might change that number, but that's currently the idea. So let's imagine that you um, you look at who's in your bracket for that day. You select your strategy, then the teams battle out against each other. You see what's happened, then you can change your build to try to once you've seen the outcomes, and yeah, that's the kind of
Okay, so there's also an element of chicken of will he change his setup to that setup? So, maybe I shouldn't change my setup because I beat that setup but not that setup sort of dealio.
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so there's definitely going to be strategy and almost a poker element in countering other people's moves as well.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And so, yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So the thing that was on my mind that I wanted to say was, right. So yeah, like you're saying, there is this element of strategy to the game. So it's like poker. It's a game of um, um, it's not a perfect information game, right? It's not
Yeah.
like chess where you see all the pieces on the board and because you have perfect information of the game states, you could determine an optimal strategy. It is more like poker, like you're saying, in that there is some available information, but not all the information is available. But then, one of the differences, well, actually, maybe it is kind of similar to yeah, well, it's got similarities to poker in that sense that there is some hidden information, and
Yeah.
then you need to think about a strategy that is, that would try to compete against those different possibilities.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like, because, you're playing against what your opponent's strategy might be.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
and
just because you can see that they have, say, strategy A and strategy B available to them in from the information you can see,
mm,
it doesn't mean you know which one they've picked.
yes,
So, you can think, well, okay, I've got a build that might win against that one, but will definitely lose to that one. Or I've got one that will, it's got a chance against both strategies.
yeah,
But then
and so
obviously that person can go and choose strategy C.
yeah, so So I think, there's the idea is that it would be a game which would cater both to the casual player, who's like, let's just pick something and play and play a little bit, see what happens. But that there would also be that it would offer this depth that if there are more kind of like hardcore competitive players that you could do a bit of more of a deep dive into the strategies that you might want to employ.
So you mentioned that you'd be able to choose from your inventory about which items that you're taking into battle.
Yeah.
How are those items gained?
Yeah, so the initial items that people will get will be based on, each of the NFTs that exists will have the ability to basically pull, to obtain each of the items that they currently have as NFT items. So those NFT items would then be a part of your inventory that you could use on the characters in game. So that's the first method of how you can actually already start to build up your inventory of items. But then in game, as the game progresses, um, you will be you like so when you battle in quick matches or the ranked mode, you'll receive chests based on what winning matches or the amount of matches that you've played. And so then those chests would provide you with additional items, additional skill cards, and our in-game utility token, in-game currency, Wari.
So yeah, I mean this was the bit that we were obviously going to be moving forward to with this is how the token comes into play and what kind of uses does it have and whether it's going to be listed on the decks and so on.
So then, moving straight forward from what I was saying, the War utility token provides you with the ability to upgrade your items. So we have kind of like a leveling system for the items as well, and then also provides you is necessary for upgrading your skill cards. Those are like the two primary things to use them for. We'll probably also have mystery boxes that you can purchase with the Wari token for obtaining additional items and skill cards. And then one of the things that we'll probably do as well is we'll have NFT sales that will either have that'll have an discounts where or not discounts. We'll have NFT sales that you can also purchase with the Wari token.
Nice. So it's going to be a completely in-house currency and not listed on dexes and so on and so forth.
No, so it's already the token already exists. It's a Cardano native assets.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, people will be able to list that on dexes, or I mean, currently already are able to list that on dexes as they wish. There's no one stopping you from doing that because it's Cardano native assets, right? So currently, I think it is, for example, listed on MinSwap, but currently there aren't markets for it because while people are receiving it, there's currently nothing you can spend it on. So there isn't any active demand for it because people
Yeah.
aren't able to use it at the moment. So yeah, I think once we have these different types of pathways for spending the token, we're going to start building up that demand for the token as well. So, but one of the things that we wanted to do, kind of in supporting, the people who have purchased our NFTs, especially early on with Max and Diver, has been, in a bit of a kind of like as a gratitude for our early supporters porters to provide them with a bit of an advantage in the game initially, that they can passively receive Wari tokens for the NFTs that they hold.
Obviously, where there's nothing to use them on, there's not going to be much demand right now. But I'm sure people are going to be want to leveling themselves up when the games and everything starts launching and everything like that. I know
Yeah.
I'm somebody that's not above, just helping my experience a little bit, shall we
Yeah.
say?
It,
It's no fun losing all the time. So if there's a way that you can get a small edge and maybe
yeah. So it's
pad your skill a bit.
exactly. So it's a line that you always tightrope that you always have to walk in, like not going complete. I think going completely play to win can be a little bit annoying, but that um, let's say that rather than being completely play to win, that it's a mechanism for those who want to be able to, let's say, reduce the amount of effort that they put into the game, or perhaps the amount of time that they put into the game. That they can reduce that a little bit with the token.
So moving a little bit back towards the game again, what kind of format are you expecting to launch in? Is it going to be sort of like browser based, or will it be an app for
So
either phone or PC, or how's that going to work?
yeah, so I think initially it'll be the easiest for us to deploy it on a web-based application. But longer term, the objective is to deploy it as a mobile application.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. And will you be able to implement your own ADA conversion? Will you be able to go? Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Will you be selling anything other than the NFTs directly for ADA, or it's going to be a case of people are going to need to find a way to get their hands on the token? Is that going to be the only way?
Mm, so right, so our NFT sales have currently, for example, been directly in ADA, and there might be some things in the game that we could sell directly as ADA, and then that would be a form of revenue, direct revenue um, for our company. Um, but yeah, that. I think that's like one of the things which is it's something we still have to think about, and it's not like a core feature, let's say.
Okay, yeah, because obviously, you guys are going to need your own income to support the servers and the ongoing development, and everything like that. I was,
Yeah.
wondering sort of like what monetization you're going to put in that you'd be able to collect yourselves. For instance, are you going to be selling passes to play for a month, for instance, or 6 months or something, or
Yeah, so we haven't let's just say we haven't defined the specific monetization, but we'll have some form of monetization.
okay. Oh, sorry, 1 second. So yeah, what what kind of length of time do you expect the average play session to be? Because obviously, with the games being fairly quick, certainly with the quick play and stuff. You it sounds like it's quite possible you'll spend longer sort of like analysing your opponent and picking your items than the battle might take, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. So if you think about, let's say if we have an average of 20, 30 seconds for matches, they might let's say if we have an average of 20 seconds per matches, right? And you would have, for example, one of those sessions of 9 automated battles against your opponents. So three battles would be a minute, nine battles would be 3 minutes. So let's say, you could view all of the matches for one of those ranked sessions in, let's say 5 minutes. So I think the average kind of time that you would spend going through, and then maybe you want to play some quick matches. Maybe you play 5 quick matches, and then that's another like 5 minutes. Maybe you spend another 5 minutes, going through, um, upgrading different items that you have or skill cards that you have, looking at the going through those types of activities. So I think the average session wouldn't be that long. Let's say 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Um, but or if you log in just for like a quick match, then that might be maybe you're playing for um, yeah. So quite not like super extended
Yeah.
sessions.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty perfect length of time for a mobile app, certainly. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
if somebody, is on a short journey somewhere, either on a bus somewhere or on a short journey where they're not driving, obviously, um,
Hopefully.
it's the sort of thing that can be done, or, you can just pick it up in your lunch break, for instance, and, you have enough time to have a good experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean that sounds pretty awesome because I mean sort of like as somebody that works a lot of hours, I don't have the time to put into a lot of games anymore. When it
Mm,
takes
mm.
half an hour, 45 minutes to have a session, it's like well I've got half an hour before I've got to run out and pick up the kids or go to work or do this do that and it cuts out the ability for me to play a lot of games to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So I
yeah,
think the idea is to be able to target quite a wide audience of casual mobile players with this game.
so I mean, sort of like, especially with going after the mobile market, this is going to sound like a bit of a crazy question, but are you going to have enough NFTs to be able to support that, or will there be a way for people that don't own the NFTs to still be able to play, maybe for a small monetization fee or something?
Yeah, exactly. So that's another kind of aspect of the game that we haven't completely defined yet. Um, where you know like I think especially when kind of like beta version and so on will first look at just having people who have NFTs, but obviously like that limits the user base if you would only have NFTs. So I
Yeah,
think we definitely will have would have some kind of freemium model where like you can play even if you don't own the NFTs in the longer term. But then that, for example, um, so I think that would be an important on ramp to get people to play the game. But then that would probably mean that also those people who are not playing with NFTs would not be able to play like they wouldn't be able to play in the same ranked categories, for
yeah,
example. And then one of the things that like we need to think about is, well, there's this like throughout the game, there is kind of there are a lot of decisions that need to be made between balancing kind of like what is an in-game asset and what is an NFT. So
yeah,
for example, also if you think about items, right? If like we will have this idea of you being able to obtain in-game items which you can use in the game but that are not NFTs. But then there would be and we have to think about kind of like what are the conditions where you know um, for example, then those in-game assets would be able you would be able to convert those in-game assets into NFTs. Um, and so like well that's like thinking about items, but then for thinking about these character identities, which currently we would every single one of the NFTs that we're selling provides a character identity, but how do we grow um, that base of character identities? And I have to admit that that's still a bit of an open question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's something that the community will enjoy taking part in the discussion with as well.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually a really interesting point, which you know, so currently the token that we have is a utility token for using in game. But there, just like we're discussing now, there are these parameters associated with how the game works, where, like you said, it might make sense for the community actually to be the primary drivers of determining those parameters. And so one of the things that we might do, or I think that we will do at some point, is taking some of those game parameters and then having some kind of governance token and governance process for people to be able to, for the users of the game to be able to influence those parameters.
Yeah, I mean that sounds absolutely perfect. Because it's the people that are playing the game day in day out. They're the ones that that often have a different kind of insight than the developers do.
Yeah, so that's for sure, for sure. And I think it's it has to be a conversation between the community, or well, not that it has to, but it should be a conversation between the community and the developers. And of course, like one of the things that we as the development company would have access to is that we have access to all the data, right, of everything that happens, and we can have analytics going through that data for determining how should we balance different kinds of things. And so on the one hand we have that type of information, which is um, the data of what's actually going on, but on the like as a whole. But then on the other hand, that's it's oftentimes hard to put user experience into numbers, and having mechanisms where people can actively kind of like um, could actively vote for what they think something should be. Those are can be a good mechanism for obtaining that feedback.
Yeah, I mean, the yeah, I mean, sounds absolutely amazing. Like, it's there's several different ways that you'd be able to go about it, and I have no doubt that you guys will find the best one that works for both you and the community.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think that's a really good way of phrasing it, and I think um, you know it's like it's a process, and we're defining things step by step, and it's my my kind of perspective is to develop things in such a way that the community is happy with the choices that we're making.
so, is there much that we've not touched on that you wanted to make sure got brought up? Because we seem to have had quite a wide ranging discussion already.
Um, no, I don't have anything specific in mind that I feel like we would have covered. I think we've covered really covered a lot of the topics that I like to talk about, want to talk about, and raise awareness for just help people understand what our project is about. I think this has been an excellent discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I did just. I mean, I've been so engrossed in the discussion. I've not had a chance to make sure people are aware that if you guys do have any questions, feel free to fire them to NFT chat, and we will actually get some more questions asked here from the community, and unless we've obviously covered most of it quite well so far. But yeah, let us know if there's anything that you guys are burning to know. Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, I do often like to talk a little bit more about the art, but sort of like without the artist, it gets a little bit more tricky. Um, but how many different traits are you planning on having for the fluffies coming up?
So Augie just pulled up a spreadsheet. So right now we have right now we have 135.
Okay, so yeah, that's a reasonable number for a 5K collection for sure.
Yeah, so this is, the trait number is kind of it's a kind of a funny thing because on the one hand it's like you feel like if you're just like pumping out all of these traits, like hey, that's extra value that you're providing to your customer, right? Like wouldn't people be happy with having lots of traits and having a lot of cool arts? But then the reality is that you actually don't necessarily want to have too many traits because then from like an NFT collection perspective, people can also feel like, if if you have too many traits, and there's only a couple of each trait, you can kind of end up in a situation where it's kind of hard to tell what are the so to speak, rarer traits or
Yeah.
more, the traits that people would get more excited about from like a collectibles perspective. Um, so I think this number is like it's a reasonable number. Trying to kind of balance between um, those two ends of the spectrum. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I do have to admit, a 1% trait will often feel more special when there's when there isn't 50 different traits in that category,
exactly, exactly.
which it's kind of a double-edged sword, really. Like it's but there definitely has been a move in a lot of projects to doing more traits. But yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that it dilutes the there's not really a word for it, but like the
The
standing out,
spectrum.
the standing out, and the individuality of the truly super rare traits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I kind of like being able to be able to see an NFT and know instantly from looking at it, the kind
Is
of
it
level
rare?
it's at in the collection.
Yeah.
Whereas, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love tools. I live and breathe tools, but at the same time, that's only the actual numbers is kind of only a part of it.
Mm.
It's like if I've got a top 1% NFT, I want it to feel like a top 1% NFT.
Mm. Mm.
And it's great when all the NFTs look amazing, but I mean it's a fine line, isn't it?
It
It's a
is
fine
like,
line.
yeah, I mean it's a bit of a it's a bit of a funny thing to say,
Yeah,
but
it's very
it's
paradoxical.
like you in some sense you want to have ugly NFTs as a part of your collection, to to balance out and also kind of bring that feeling of specialness for the really beautiful ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But with that said, but I mean, it's so I'm just gonna say that we have fluffies. They all look good, but then just some look amazing, right? So let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because it's so paradoxical, and you feel dirty saying it,
Yeah.
because you want everybody to have a lovely looking NFT, and I mean I'm quite well known for minting literally like the bottom rarity of everything that I mint. Like I'm happy if I mint one in 10 in the top 50%.
Oh man.
That's how I run. So I still want to have good looking NFTs, but at the same time, it's when you have every NFT looking special, it's hard to make a special special,
Mm, mm.
or a special special special.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a healthy thing to have a little bit of a gradient.
Yeah, no, I do agree. Apart from your project, in which every single one looks absolutely amazing, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we still have the gradient, but it's just it goes from like amazing to like, wow, does that actually is did I actually see what I just saw?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, no, I think, like I mentioned previously, it's really a pleasure for us working with our artist Manubila, and he has a bit of a quirky, quite a unique art style, I think, in the Cardano NFT space, with this kind of like bit of a quirky, rebellious type of feel to, the characters and some of the items that the characters create. Yeah, and I definitely, I personally like his art very much.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly consider it very distinctive, and as much as there's been an absolute ton of projects released on Cardano, I've still not seen anything that looks anything like yours.
Yeah,
We,
yeah.
we
So
might
some,
have 35.8 projects, and 5 dinosaur projects, and 10 clay projects or whatever, but there is quite literally only one Phoenix Arena.
yes. So it's that's also a double-edged sword. Like from a marketing perspective, um, it's so much easier for you to develop a product which is easily recognizable, kind of like triggers the same pattern recognition in your audience. Like, people have seen that, oh, ape NFTs were really big in Ethereum, so therefore, oh, the ape this ape project on Cardano is going to be the next big thing. And it just, people have those patterns kind of wired into their brain, and it's from developing a like big project, it's so much easier to do that. But on the other hand, I also feel like then it's easier to get to certain points, um, but then at the same time, you know someone always has to be the first one,
Yeah,
and it's like if you I think if you want to create something which is something that's like, how would I put this? um
unique.
yeah, but it's like those big successes, like the actually really big successes, are going to be for the projects that are original and unique, in considering their art, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
If you can
look
only
at
go so strong.
Look at Ian Bletsky.
Yeah, well, actually, maybe just, maybe Claymates would be a good example. Claymates
Yeah,
is nothing like other NFT projects that are out there. And if Claymates was another ape project, I think it's um it's it's kind of success would be capped um to being something that's a copy rather than trailing its own path,
Yeah,
and kind of setting the new standard. So basically what I'm trying to say here is hopefully we've got different kind of art, and while we weren't able to like um, kind of mooch off of that ape NFT pattern, so to speak, in people's brains, but hopefully building our own thing will get to the point where we build that thing that perhaps then other people will be copying one day.
yeah. I mean, sort of like it's kind of interesting because I think you have, or sorry, your artist has a style that will be very attractive to children.
Mm,
But at the same time, there's going to be, there's all sorts of problems about, children and NFTs. So,
yeah.
that, I mean, that's something that's, sort of like, while you're still web based, will be less of an issue. But I think it's something that might be worth considering when you launch into the mobile market.
Mm, mm.
Like, but again, you're going to, hopefully, cross your fingers, you'll have a version that will be suitable for the younger crowd as well. So,
Yeah,
obviously not needing an NFT to play and stuff like that.
yeah. That's actually a really interesting point. Um, but yeah, the main issue there is just
Yeah, I'll take the spanner out. Don't worry, I'll just throw the spanner
no,
in there.
that's actually
But
no, that's actually a really interesting point. And I have to say that that's not something that I had thought about. But you're right that that is actually something where, if you grow to a large enough scale, that's something where you might run into some kind of legal issues. But basically, I also think that, if we manage to reach that scale where we might start running into some kind of legal issues with that, we probably would also just be able to just be like, okay, you know what, we're moving our company to a jurisdiction where we're not going to have that regulatory issue.
yeah, I mean, because I mean, the other side of it as well is, if you're planning on being on iOS, I don't. I mean, what kind of rules are there around NFTs on Apple devices?
Mm, mm.
Obviously, you'd have to appease Google and the Play Store as well, though there are options for side loading.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Um, yeah, these are uncharted territories, and there are definitely some of those hurdles that I'm sure we'll face down the road, and that we'll have to think about them when we get to.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, let's face it, their position could flip between now and then in whichever direction it is anyway. So, there's and obviously any regulations that come in that to do with advertising and stuff like that might have an effect in the future, though there isn't much in the
Mm,
way of that right now.
mm.
But yeah, I kind of feel like I've thrown a spanner in the conversation at an awkward time there, actually.
Yeah, it was like
Because,
let's
like,
end
we're
this
just
on a
moving
strong
towards
note.
rounding
Yeah,
up, and then this comes up, and it's like, well, I can't really end it now on that note.
yeah, it's like, yeah, this is and yeah. So did you ever think about the fact that Google might just like put you like destroy you?
'Cause- I mean,
Um,
because neither Google nor Apple is known for that at all in any way, shape, or form, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's like, well. Fingers crossed that that's not the case.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then we will have
we'll
to have
agree on that one.
exactly.
I
But
mean,
in the worst
either
case
way, it's not going to
time,
be. Even if that happens, though, it's not going to be a death knell because there's plenty of ways that you can still be successful, even just being web based, or
exactly.
um, and or even like Steam or PlayStation Store or whatever, and there's always going to be outlets for with mass adoption potential for you to be able to push into.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, maybe not Steam given their current stance, but that's probably because they've just not figured out a way to monetize NFTs properly themselves yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, we don't know how
Yeah,
to do this, so no one else can is. We're not going to allow anyone else
yeah,
to do that either.
yeah. If we can't take a cut, it's not happening. Is
Yeah,
basically what it
yeah,
comes to, I
yeah,
think.
exactly. It's like you're eating into our profits. That money flowing into your NFTs, that's money that's not flowing to us. So,
Yeah,
yeah, sorry guys.
yeah, for sure. Though, funnily enough, that's probably the thing that'll keep Google Play and iOS interested if they can take a cut of 30% of all the sales, right?
Oh yeah. That's true. Exactly. You gotta give them a good enough cut.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think if we're in a position where those are the types of issues that we need to worry about, I think we're in a pretty good position.
Yeah, no, I'll agree on that one. I'll agree on that one.
Yeah.
Oh dear, but yeah, that's a much more positive spin on it, anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a much, I think we managed to turn it around quite quickly.
But yeah, I mean, it sucks when you have awkward moments like that, but then finding your way through them and to realize maybe we're making a bit of a storm in a teacup because we're just not thinking big enough,
Yeah.
which is a nice problem to have.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think we must have done a fairly reasonable job with the conversation, as we've not really had much in the way of questions popping up into NFT chat. So
Yeah, hopefully
yeah,
everyone else is being as
as long as not everybody has fallen asleep, then then we're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say hopefully being as kind of engrossed by the conversation as you have. So they've just been listening along and uh, and that's why there are no questions.
Yeah, and we definitely have good people listening. I mean, Crispy's still here like a trooper. Soul is another big regular of ours as well, who I do like to give a shout out. Like he's
Mm.
damn good bloke. And yeah, and obviously everybody else that's turned up. Like you guys are absolutely awesome, and none of us would be here without you guys.
For sure.
And yeah, thank you to you guys for turning up and letting me chew your ears off about your project.
No, thanks a lot for the conversation. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before we started, I've actually really quite been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, looking forward to picking up an auto battler that I've actually got time to play.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, like I do like TFT and everything like that, but yeah, it just takes too long.
Mm.
But yeah, with that, I'd like to thank everybody again. If you're somebody that's watching this back on the YouTube video because you couldn't make it to see us live, or it's in 6 months' time or whatever like that, make sure you check out the links below. There'll be links to the website, the Twitter, and most importantly the Discord. So make sure you join and say hello to the community. And yeah, make sure you check everything out and say hello. And with that, make sure you click the like and subscribe button, hit the bell, and all that social media goodness that I still feel awkward saying after nearly 100 of these things. But but yeah, so yeah, thank you guys, and yeah,
Yeah, thanks a lot, ToolSin, for for having us. Like I said, again, it's a pleasure. And thank you for everyone who has been listening in the audience during this conversation. And also, thank you to anyone who is listening to this later on YouTube and has gotten up to this point.
So yeah, look forward to seeing you all soon, and I hope you all have a great day or evening or morning wherever you are.
All right. Same here.